Good morning. Hello. It is Monday again. These Mondays come around so quickly, don't they? Welcome to this morning's bite-sized training. If you are watching live, say hi in the comments. Not sure where they are. And if you're watching on playback, give us a hashtag playback, or hashtag replay, so we know that you're watching on playback. I'm in my car office this morning. It's a lovely sunny day, too nice to be in the office. So I am making the most of the sunny day. I've got this weird, little bit of sunshine that just keeps going on my nose. I need it on my whole face. Maybe if I put the visor down. No, that doesn't help. So yes, this morning we are looking at reacting to people or dogs out on walks, and particularly on a day like today when it's so beautiful, we'd love to be outside with our dogs enjoying time, and it can not always be a pleasant experience when you have got dogs who are reacting when we're out on walks. So before I start, I'm just going to cover three areas off. But before I start, I just want to talk a little bit about threshold and make sure that you're clear on what threshold is. So threshold, when we're talking about over threshold or under threshold, it's basically like a stressometer that we're referring to. So we want to make sure that the dogs are staying under threshold, where they're calm and their brains are able to absorb learning. When they're over threshold and they're at that point where they go from being calm and chilled out to stressed and reactive, they're not able to absorb learning or training of any type. So we want to make sure that we're working with our dogs on anything when they are under threshold. Threshold's that kind of limit. So I guess an example could be if a fire alarm goes off, or if there's a panic situation where you want to evacuate a building or something, and someone tries to teach you how to do pi r squared at the same time, your brain is not going to be able to cope with that. It's not going to be able to learn. So it's the same with our dogs. We want to work with them when they are under threshold. And I just want to make sure that you're clear on that before I start sharing tips this morning. So tip number one, I guess, is to understand why they're reacting in the first place. So most dogs will be reacting because of fear or frustration or overexcitement. So we need to recognize why they're reacting in the first place. We need to be hot on our observations. We need to be looking for fixed staring, the obvious ones like the noise, the lunging, the barking, even just a tight clamped mouth. If we're looking for areas like that with the dog's body language, and we're able to recognize them quickly and we understand what's causing the reactivity, it's going to give us a head start. So the first thing that we want to be looking at is why they're behaving like this and those initial signs, and then we're able to pick up on those initial signs and make sure that we're creating distance. As soon as we pick up on those initial signs, we're showing the dog that we're able to create space and we're able to keep them under threshold by moving away from whatever it is that is a trigger to them. If the dog is too close to that trigger, then they're going to start hitting threshold and tip over threshold, and that's when they're not going to be open to learning. So we want to keep them as far as we're able to. We want to keep them under threshold, and we want to build that trust from them in us that we are able to make decisions that will keep them safe and keep them away from things that they perceive to be a threat like this, or things that will put them over threshold, whether it's overexcitement, whether it's the fear, whether it's frustration, whatever it is. We need to be able to show them that we can make those decisions and we can do it time and time again consistently. So I want you to think about seeing it, treating it, and making sure that we are moving away from it before the over threshold happens, before they have the meltdown. What else do we need to think about with distance? So I think if you're on a street and you've got someone walking towards you, you can arc away. You can make sure that you're moving away and arcing away from whatever it is. If you're in an open space, you can make sure that you're removing yourself. What really is a challenge here, and I don't know if it is where you're watching, is people who have got their dogs off lead, and as the dog comes flying towards you, they shout, "Don't worry, they're friendly." Great, fabulous. So, for example, I could be walking a foster dog that has just been neutered. I could be walking a dog that is reactive. I could be walking a dog that is really elderly and has got challenges that means that physically being jumped on by another dog could cause them severe pain. So we need to make sure that we're advocating for our dogs at all times and thinking about ways that we can firmly say, no, this isn't acceptable, and protecting our dogs. So risk assessing the whole time that you're out. I mean, if you've got a reactive dog or you walk a reactive dog, you will know that you're constantly scanning and constantly watching for anything that could potentially be a trigger. So we're going to see it. We're going to treat it. So we're going to have some high value rewards, and we're going to reward the dog while it's under threshold, not when it's over threshold, and then we're going to move away before there's a meltdown. We're rewarding the calmness. The second thing I want to highlight, we're rewarding the calmness. We're not rewarding any chaos. So whatever you reinforce will get repeated, whether that's negative reinforcement, whether that's positive reinforcement. So think very carefully about what behavior you're seeing from the dog that you're giving feedback to it on, that you're giving reinforcement to it on, and think about what is high value to that dog that you can reinforce, that you can then make sure that you're showing the dog is fabulous behavior. So when the dog looks at you, for example, or when the dog glances at the trigger but doesn't fix its stare and doesn't react, you want to be marking that behavior so that it knows that is exactly perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. We want that under threshold, calm behavior. So start in a low distraction environment. Don't go straight to where the dog's high triggers are. Start in a low distraction environment. When the dog looks or glances at the trigger and you've got plenty of distance between you and the trigger, when the dog glances, you're rewarding. And it could be that you're using a word like click or me or an actual clicker, or it could just be that you are just rewarding on the ground and making the dog sniff, so it's distracted and looking find it rather than what the actual trigger is. And it's not so much about distraction, but more about giving the dog a clear alternative to the reactivity. So the third thing that I just want to finish off on, and again, like all the bite-sized trainings, these are areas that I could talk about for days, and we do keep them bite-sized because we know they're easier to digest, but at the same time there is so much more to this area. But the third thing that I really want to think about is what can you ask the dog to do? What can you teach the dog to do in a home environment first, and then gradually take outside to low distraction areas and build up? What can you teach that dog to do that's an alternative behavior to the reactivity? So some people will use let's go. So let's go, and then they're going to turn away from whatever the trigger is and walk away with the dog. So by the dog choosing to come with you and let's go, it's not able to react because it's busy doing something else. And the same with look at me. It might be that you teach the dog a look at me. So you might hold the treat up to your eyes, for example, and the dog will be watching the treat. And you'll just see, if you wait, you'll just see the dog's eyes flick from the treat to your eyes. As soon as it makes eye contact with you, you say, look at me, and you reward. And you keep building that up until the dog knows to look into your eyes to get the reward rather than looking at your hand. What we do is ready. Ready is our cue. So when a dog first comes into us, we start teaching ready, steady, catch. And on the third hand bounce, the treat gets released. So at first it might just bounce near them somewhere, or it might bounce off the top of their heads, but eventually they get ready, steady and catch. But what it means is that ready, that word ready, is the beginning of something cool, something fun that they're going to do, something that might taste nice. So as soon as I say ready, all of our dogs will look at me because they're like, what's going to happen? So have a think about what you can teach as a cue that could be an alternative behaviour that the dog can display to the reactivity, so that when you're out on a walk, you're able to use that cue to get their attention and get them busy doing something else. Another one that we do is find it, where we scatter and we look for different treats, and we build that up to looking for toys or looking for something scented, and we build up the difficulty of that. So it's super easy to start with, and then we'll build it up to maybe raise it up a level or look in different places. But find it is a really exciting cue for our dog, and it keeps them busy. It keeps their brains going, and it keeps them busy while maybe another dog is passing, or our little terrier, when he first came, he was very reactive to vehicles. So find it when a vehicle's coming along means that he's sniffing and he's using his nose to find the treats on the ground. So as soon as the dog notices the trigger, you're going to use that cue before there's a reaction. You're not going to wait for the reaction to use it. You're heading up you're leading here. You're heading up how we're going to behave when there's one of those triggers around, because you don't want the dog to be feeling fear. You don't want the dog to be frustrated, and you don't want it to be over threshold with its excitement. So it's up to you to lay these foundations and know that there's no timeline. Like with everything that we do with our dogs, they're independent, they're free thinking beings, and we need to respect that they will all learn at different speeds, and they will all have different things that will tip them over that threshold. So I hope you found that helpful this morning, and I hope that you have a fabulous Monday. If you haven't checked out the Progressive Dog Rehab course, it is ending tonight. The offer is ending tonight. The doors are closing. We are doing one live beta round for it. It's £497. You can pay in instalments. The link is somewhere around here in the copy that goes with this live, and it's your only chance to work with me on this live course, as well as ask all the questions as you go along. You'll get the workbooks, and it's certified. We're also going through the CPD standard certification process with it at the moment, so you will at some point be able to get your formal CPD accredited certification for it too, as well as your digital badge. We all love a digital badge. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care.